When Peter convened a working group to think about new metrics for Rising Stars, one of the requirements was that it had to always be there. It couldn't be something that was there some of the time on some of the campaigns, depending on what vendor you use, depending on what the ad type was, et cetera. It had to be something that was always there, always measurable, just like the click. So Peter and the IAB convened a working group that included Google, Microsoft, AOL, PointRoll, MediaMind, et cetera, and said the following: we need to come up with interaction metrics that are not specific to a vendor, that are not specific to an ad type, that can be measurable all the time on every ad unit, even if the ad unit's not interactive, to Peter's point. So what the group came up with was two working definitions. They're called the universal interaction rate, which is about a half a second, or at least a half a second, of a user inside the frame of an ad with their mouse, and universal interaction time, which simply measures the average time that they're there. So if you think about context here, this came from rich media. This came from some of the ideas around rich media where you roll over an ad to expand it, you roll over a video to play it, you flip through a photo gallery. But what about when you don't know what's inside the ad? What about if you don't know what content is there and you still have to have a metric? That's how they arrived at these two metrics. So we're going to look at some actual results from Forbes. We've been live with Forbes for almost the entire 9 months since the metrics have been around. And here's what some of the real data from real campaigns looks like. So what we saw is a 9.5% Rising Star universal interaction rate and a 2.7% non-Rising Star interaction rate. 252% higher interaction rate using the same definition, apples to apples, right? But just one being a Rising Star and one not. On time, a significant increase, 3.3 seconds to 4.5 seconds. So 36% longer interaction time with Rising Stars. So new definition for a new set of metrics, applied them to real campaigns, and they're working. The units are working. They're doing better, right? And this is apples to apples comparisons. Implementation is really straightforward. It's JavaScript, and anybody can do it. You can use a vendor or a company like us, or you can use anyone you want. Your ad server can do it, or the publisher can potentially do it. It's simple JavaScript. It works with all servers, all ad servers, and it's really straightforward. So how do you actually, once you implement the metric, you're collecting these metrics on every campaign and every ad unit, how do you optimize them? And ultimately, how do you sell them? So the first part I'll talk about, it's simple. It's the same as clicks, right? So today, if you use DFP as your ad server, as Forbes does, and a client comes and says, we want to optimize the campaign for click-through, Forbes uses a partner called Maxifier, and Maxifier is able to make ad server changes in almost real time. Same thing with interaction metrics. So Moat basically collects the data on Forbes' behalf, feeds it to Maxifier. Maxifier can make real-time changes. So the idea is that it should be there, just like the click. It should be 100% measurable. It should be on every campaign all the time. And by doing that, we can begin to tell a better story about success, because just having bigger units that look more interesting is part of it, but we need to actually have ROI. We need to actually be able to show success in order to sell better